Anime Milwaukee became one of my all-time favorite conventions in 2015. With a crazy amount of hype around this con, it's safe to say it was becoming one of the most anticipated conventions in the Midwest. But after this year, I feel much more skeptical about Anime Milwaukee than ever before. Anime Milwaukee 2016 took place once again in the Hyatt Regency Milwaukee and the convention center next door, attached to each other by a long skywalk. Across from the convention center sits a mall. This is good because there isn't a ton of food to be found in the con itself, but the food court in the mall finds itself full of cosplayers for the weekend. I do really like this venue for the convention, always have and probably always will. It holds the con in a very good way. Do note that if you're staying at the Hyatt, even with discounted parking, it can still be pretty expensive. It's annoying, but there isn't much you can do about it, so be sure to plan for that if you're going next year. Once again, at-con registration was really bad on Thursday. They told people it opens at 6, but that's actually when they started setting it up. My friends who had to go through it were not far back in line at all and had to wait hours. As for registration for the rest of the weekend, I was told it was much better. Seems to only be a problem on Thursday, so be ready for that if you want to go a day early next year, or just pre-reg. I will quickly say that even though they were admittedly short-handed on staff, I thought the staff of the convention were very helpful and nice, but it was kind of ruined by the employees of the convention center. I don't know if I have ever met a more rude and mixed up group of people in my life. Multiple times we were yelled at for I don't even know what. I've also heard from a lot of other people that they were rude to them as well. It really sucks because it honestly felt like they didn't want us there. I know this isn't the con's fault, but it's a problem. I just don't know how you go about fixing it. One thing you can say about Anime Milwaukee is that they managed to pull an amazing lineup of guests. From voice actors to internet stars to famous cosplayers, their guest list really surprised me this year. As far as panels go, there were fun things happening. Any of the guest panels, the all voice actor panel, which was a collab with another convention through a Skype call, basically doubling the amount of voice actors, the burlesque show, cosplay combat chess, and the cosplay contest seemed to be the big events for the weekend. There were a few other things, but all of this just felt really spaced out, with not a lot else that was very interesting going on. Most everyone I talked to always said that they were bored or had nothing to do. This means either the panels were not any good, or, the more likely reason, no one knew what was happening when. You see, this year at Anime Milwaukee, they had these very well-made guidebooks with good panel descriptions, but they were missing the most important thing: the locations and times for every single panel. Want to see when and where your panel is? You have to download their app. This is a problem because at least for us, the app wouldn't even download, and then for those who got it to download, it kept crashing. I'm not trying to say that the app was a bad idea. It's not at all. The problem is they kind of force you to use it. Most cons will have an app and still put times and locations in their guidebook so you have options. Please, put times and locations in your guidebook next year. The dealer's room felt very similar to last year's, but this is not a complaint. They have a really good dealer's room with a lot to look at. It's honestly one of the best parts of this convention, along with the Artist Alley. Anime Milwaukee's Artist Alley is one of the only artist alleys that's set up in the hallway that I actually like. It does make things a little cramped, but it's not too bad. The Artist Alley is without a doubt one of the best things about this con. Another thing Anime Milwaukee seems to be doing right is their game room. It isn't the best game room I've ever been to, but it's in the top 5, and that's saying something considering how many cons I go to every year. If you love gaming, it's worth checking out. There's enough in there to keep you busy the whole weekend if that's how you wish to spend your con. The last thing I always loved about this convention is their maid cafe on the top floor of the Hyatt. Unfortunately, rumor is this is their last year. I just hope they continue to use that top floor for something. There's something very cool about being up there. If the rumors are true, I feel like Anime Milwaukee may not be the same without that amazing maid cafe. Now we need to talk about the rave. This rave had a lot of hype around it. It was being run by Jeff Ito. I'm actually a big fan of his and the raves he puts on. At this point, I've been to a lot of them and they have never disappointed me. Until now. First, the good things. The rave started on time and DJ Tetsuo did an amazing first set to start things off. Unfortunately, for For most all of his set, the music was too low. You could talk at a normal speaking voice and hear each other. The lighting also wasn't that well done. We did get over it though and still really enjoyed Tetsuo's set. After that, for some reason, none of the DJs would play anything that you could really jump to. It honestly felt like background music at a club. It really sucks because the whole crowd really wanted to dance and really wanted it to be good. At one point, everyone begged the DJ to drop the bass, but he just wouldn't. I mean, look at this. After that, people seemed to leave, and every single person I talked to has said they were very disappointed with this rave. All that being said, I will say I still support Jeff in running the rave in the future. He did a fantastic job in the past. I don't know what happened this year, but hopefully it was just an off year. Before I get into scoring this con, I want to let you know that some of these scores may seem lower than normal. This is because starting with this review, I'm changing my scale with which I review cons. I'm giving each number score a meaning to help better convey what the score actually means. This way, it doesn't seem like random numbers that I just came up with. This will also help me explore the scale much more. From now on, getting a 9 or a 10 really means something. I have put on the screen what each number score means for you to reference. The size of this convention is medium. The location gets a 9 out of 10. This location is close to perfect for this con, and I really hope they don't move for a long time, or ever. Organization gets a 5 out of 10. This year just felt so unorganized, from bad registration on Thursday to no times or locations in the guidebooks, with other small issues that all just came together to feel pretty bad. This, of course, could have something to do with them being low on staff, but that wouldn't fix everything. The dealer's room gets an 8 out of 10, one of the best things about this con. If you go, don't miss the dealer's room. Make sure you bring a lot of money, as you will need it. The game room gets an 8 out of 10. It was awesome. Much like the dealer's room, you must check out the game room if you come here. It's pretty big and has everything from retro to rhythm games and everything in between. Guests get a 9 out of 10. Like I said before, Anime Milwaukee really shined here this year. I promise there was probably someone you wanted to see going to this convention. Hopefully this trend will continue into next year as well. Panels get a 5 out of 10. They did have some pretty big panels happening that were actually really cool, but in between those panels it felt very lacking with not a lot to do at one time. I also lowered this score because the guidebook didn't tell us where or when the panels were. Maybe there were good panels, but who knows when you can't find them. The staff gets a 6 out of 10. The con staff was great, but short-handed. I heard a lot of people dropped out right before the convention. I also took a little bit off of this score because the convention center staff was that bad. I know it's not the con's fault, but if you're going to this con, you will still have to deal with this. The rave gets a 3 out of 10. It wasn't good. I'm sorry, it really hurts me to say that. I wanted it to be good so bad. This rave could have been the cherry on top, but it just wasn't. I really hope Jeff is back next year to have a chance to redeem himself. But either way, it has to be better. Anime Milwaukee 2016 was very conflicting for me. For everything that was done right, it felt like something else was really off. It seemed as though they had tried to change a lot this year, and I don't think it worked out in their favor. It seems as though when I asked people who were going this year for their first time at this con, they really liked it, but people who had been in the past were all disappointed. I don't think Anime Milwaukee is a bad con by any means. I really think this was an off year for them. I would bet anything they will be back next year better than ever. But for now, I have to judge them on this year alone. So unfortunately, I give Anime Milwaukee 2016 a 6 out of 10. It was just okay. Not bad, but not great. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this review. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as it does help a lot. I linked annotations for the first part of the vlogs, the tour, and one of the music videos for this con as well. Don't forget to support me on Patreon to get videos early, get access to private videos like my unedited vlogs, my personal story times, and private Q&As with the whole crew, as well as much more. There's also an annotation for the Convention Reviews merch shop, where you can get shirts, hoodies, phone cases, and more. Don't forget to stay positive and always follow your dreams. See you in the next video.